Marshi Smith, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So the House just passed a bill banning transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. What's your take on this bill and what it does?
So I just want to clarify that it does not actually ban transgender athletes from sports. No transgender athlete is excluded from sport. What it does is clarify the eligibility categories for women's sports as female athletes from birth.
Understood. Thank you for clarifying. So, do you think this bill goes far enough to protect safety and fairness in women's sports, and why?
So I wish that it wasn't necessary. We've had Title IX in place since 1972, so over 50 years. And this should have been covered under that law, the longstanding law. But however, President Biden and the administration has really forged a formal assault on Title IX now, redefining the word sex in the law to mean gender identity. And so now we need this bill in order to clarify that women's sports are for female athletes and preserving equal opportunities for women and girls across the country.
So, in response to the bill, House Representative Greg Landsman, a Democrat, says this bill is about bullying children. What's your response to that?
I would say, what about the girls? We saw last year in the Ivy League that women were bullied in collegiate swimming. I was an NCAA swim champion back in the early 2000s, and these girls were emotionally blackmailed and silenced. They were bullied themselves into accepting lesser treatment from their universities and asked to surrender their own awards and records. So I would just ask this Democrat to consider the women that are going to be affected and discriminated against with the policies that the Biden administration and Democrats are pushing forward.
It looks like the bill will be struck down in the Senate. What brings you hope to continue fighting for to protect women's sports?
We have a lot of hope, regardless of what happens in the Senate. Women's sex-based rights are not vanishing in 2023 suddenly. We are fighting this across the country in the courts, and hope that the Supreme Court will rule on this in the near future. And we need more athletes coming forward in the media to speak about their stories and to tell their personal experiences and the emotional ramifications from being discriminated against with people in power and leadership.
Marshi Smith, co founder of the Independent Council on Women's Sports, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.